Let's talk about The Wolfman. This is the new film from Lee Winnell. After directing the film The Invisible Man, Lee Winnell returns to the Universal Classic Monsters with a new spin on the Wolfman. I don't know where I was trying to go with that, but we are here. We watched that movie last night, and of course let's talk about it first. This was a Ryan Gosling film that was supposed to come out a couple of years ago, and then ultimately I think Gosling went into producing this film instead, and now we have Christopher Abbott as well as Julia Garner starring in this movie. And to tell you the truth, this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it is the first movie we went to go watch in theaters for a new release. So, Wolfman, does it hold up? Does it continue the legacy, the classic Universal monster, the Wolfman? Let's talk about it. So, this movie basically reinvents itself in a way, I feel, from other werewolf movies. It is a very, very contained and intimate film, which I really did love that approach to the Wolfman. I really love that this movie was just more about this family dealing with the repercussions of this curse, and in the movie almost like a disease is what it is, and I love that approach so much. So that's the first thing I will say to you. This is a movie that focuses more on the effects that it has on the family in itself than more, I would say, like the carnage or anything that a werewolf would do, right? So if you're going into this movie thinking it's going to be a movie where you see this werewolf just wreaking havoc on a lot of people and just being a werewolf, you might be a little disappointed. But just look at this as a mediating film on grief, on seeing a loved one like succumb to a sickness, and you don't understand what this sickness is. And I think that was what really added to this movie. It is more on the tragic ends of the horror aspect than I would say the carnage or gore, things like that. There is a lot of grossness in here. There's a lot of great body horror as well. And something that I really found fascinating is the way that it was presented. You are used to seeing the classic werewolf, right? Now, I saw Werewolves last month. If you're looking for something like classic werewolf, that's your movie over there. Here, it's more in tune of The Fly, of that sorts, where it's really gross. You see this person get consumed by the sickness. You see body parts fall apart, nails, teeth, things like that. And it really focuses more on that aspect of it, of the grossness of the sickness or the curse taking over. And you don't really get that clean werewolf look, I will tell you, if that's what you were thinking with this one. Now, we've seen that before with Benicio del Toro in that other werewolf movie. And like I said, Werewolves last month. So I really did love the fact that we were getting something a bit different here with Lee Winnell's Wolfman. And he does sort of give it more of a contemporary vibe to it, just as he did with The Invisible Man. So like I said, those are all pluses for me, but I can understand why they would be negatives for a lot of people as well. Because I was fascinated with the whole aspect of this movie from hearing Winnell talk about it and all of that, about seeing a loved one succumb to a sickness and you're just there, you don't know what to do or how to handle it, and you're just unaware. It's the unknown that's much more terrifying. And I also think it has a lot to do with family curses, you could say, sort of this thing that's passed down, right? Like, and you really see it through Christopher Abbott's character, who grew up in a very, you could say, strict, and his father was very overbearing, and he's trying not to be that parent either with his new child, and he's trying to overcome the trauma and be a better parent, you could say, but it's still something that creeps up and something that he's afraid of doing. And I won't get more into it because I think I don't want to really dissect the whole movie as a whole in this video. That will be a video I will do tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. This is just my quick review for you right now. Now, I will tell you the movie does go at a pretty quick pace. Like, this movie just starts off already like fast, and that's one of the things that I was kind of disappointed in the movie. I felt like it didn't give itself time to flesh out and be what it really wanted to be. I think there were moments where we could have focused on some characters here, specifically Julia Gardner's character, who I felt you really do sense what she's going through and things like that, but you don't really get to hear her express herself as much as I think she should have in order for these emotional payoffs to really hit. And I think that was one of the weakest parts about the movie, is just that it's trying to go at a quick pace and get things done, and by the time it's all over, you're just sitting there like, wait, it's over. And it was just one of those moments where I just think if the movie gave itself a bit of a like 15 minutes or so, I think focusing on the characters more and how they truly feel and things like that, you really would have had a better payoff. But that's my only gripe with the film. Other than that, I think the acting is great. I think Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner are amazing in this. I think the transformation BFX team did an incredible job at really portraying just how tragic and horrifying having a werewolf curse on you can be, not just for your family witnessing it, but for yourself, because you get a lot of POV shots of Christopher Abbott as he is transforming, and he's trying to sort of piece together what exactly is happening to him. And it looks like the characters kind of have an idea this is a werewolf thing, but they sort of, at the end of the day, still don't want to believe it until, of course, it is too late. And I thought that that was such a great perspective to showcase, because a lot of times in movies with werewolves and things like that, we get these transformations happening in a single shot, and we don't really get the perspective of the person transforming. And here, it's like the transformation is taking us throughout the whole film, and we see it more and more happen, and we see Christopher Abbott's character sort of coming to the reckoning that this, and we see Christopher Abbott's character sort of coming to the conclusion that this is what's happening to him, and it's just so terrifying to see. Overall, like I said, this is a movie that has great acting, it has amazing VFX and transformations, and I think that the emotional beats of it really are great, but I think that it just goes a bit too fast for its own good, and it really leaves you sometimes hanging, and even by the end of it, you're still just like, is that really just it, you know? And that's the thing. I think I don't know if there was a longer runtime here, if things were cut or what happened, but I really think that this movie really would have blossomed even more if it had a bit of a longer runtime. But overall, I'm still happy with it. I still enjoyed it a lot. It is definitely a movie that, in my opinion, lived up to what I wanted to see and what I wanted anyone else to do with this story. I do hope we get to see more of the Universal monsters, more takes on them, because I think there's so much you can do with them. And I think Leigh Whannell really has set a standard with where you can really go with these classic tales, especially with The Invisible Man and Wolfman now. But let me know what you think about the film. I recommend it still, checking it out. Do I think you should run out to the theater and check it out? It just depends. If you are on the fence of it, see it in a matinee. I think it is gorgeously shot. I think that there are some great moments in it, but I do think that this movie is sort of marketed in a way where people are going to think it's a straight up horror, and it does lean a lot more into tragedy and drama of sorts. So that's all I'll say about it, but let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the movie or not, and I'll see all of you next time. Hit that subscribe and notification bell. We got videos on The Brutalist, Presents, Red Rooms, and some Sundance films coming out this week as well. So stay tuned for that, because we got a ton of things planned for you. Some videos on The Monkey and some other horror films that are getting a bit more talk and all of that. So very, very excited to keep talking movies. But as always, I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.